Hey guys, welcome back to week 14 of the Master Electrician Exam Prep Series. This week we're going to be dealing with optional method heating and cooling load calculations, and then we're going to be leading right into motors. I'm very excited. Let's get to it. All right, so when we're doing heating and cooling using the optional method, we're actually going to select the larger of the 6 choices that are listed in 220.82c. And it'll be any one of the following, whichever one is the largest. So 100% of the AC, 100% of the heat pump if there is no supplemental heat, 100% of the heat pump plus 65% of the supplemental heat if installed, 65% of electric space heating with 4 or less units, baseboard heating would be a good example, and 40% for electric space heating that has 4 or more units. So we're going to cover an example of all these. The only one we're not going to cover an example on is 100% of thermal storage heating. You're probably not going to get that question. If you do, you just take it at 100%. And if that is larger than the AC, which it's likely going to be, you're going to then go ahead and, use 100% of it. So it just depends on where you're at, geographically, and, but we're not going to cover that on the example questions today, but we are going to cover the other 5 options. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's look at variation 1. This is going to be 100% of the AC or 100% of the heat pump if there is no supplemental heat. What is the total HVAC demand you would calculate for a dwelling unit with an AC compressor rated at 22 amps and a heat pump compressor rated at 25 amps, both using a 2.2 amp blower motor on a 120/240 volt system using the optional method? So first we're going to calculate the AC. So we take our 22 amps multiplied by 240 volts, and that's going to give us 5,250 VAs. Now we're going to take and multiply out the blower motor. And so it's 2.2 multiplied by 240. That's going to give us 528. Now we just take and add those two together, and that is going to give us our total AC load. Now let's go ahead and calculate the heat. So we're going to take 25 and multiply it by 240, and that's going to give us 6,000 VAs. Then we're going to take and this is going to be our largest motor, we're assuming, in this calculation. I have you guys do that just for good practice, and that's going to give us 6,000 multiplied by 1.25. That's going to take that up to 7,500. Then we're going to add in the blower motor, and that is going to give us another 520 VAs. And then we take and add that all together, and that's going to give us 8,028 total heat. Remember, in this case, we select one or the other, the larger of the two, and we are going to select A. Great job. All right, what is the total HVAC demand you would calculate for a dwelling unit with an AC compressor at 22 amps and a heat pump compressor at 25 amps with a 10 kW heat strip, both using the 2.2 amp blower motor on a 120/240 volt system using the optional method? So we're going to use the same number for the AC through all these calculations. Almost in every case, the heat is always going to be larger, but still bear the math out. So we bear all the math out, we end up with the same conclusion, and we end up with that number. Now let's deal with the heating. So we have to take 100% of the heat pump plus 65% of the supplemental heat and add those two together. So we're going to take the heat pump, we're going to take and multiply that by 1.25. Then we are going to take our 10,000 kW heat strip, and we're going to multiply that by 0.65. Then we are going to take the blower motor, and then we're just going to add all those together. So we take the 7,500 plus the original blower motor, plus we add in now the reduced load for the heat strip, and that's going to give us a total of 14,528, and we are going to select the larger, and we select C. Great job. What is the total HVAC demand you would calculate for a dwelling unit with an AC compressor that's rated at 22 amps using a 2.2 amp blower motor and 3 baseboard heating units rated at 3,500 watts each on a 120/240 volt system using the optional method? So we go ahead and work out the AC, and now let's calculate the heating. So we take 3, which is the number of baseboard heaters, and we're going to multiply it by the wattage. That's going to give us 10,500 VAs. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be allowed to add a 65% demand factor to that, and that's going to reduce the load down to 6,825 VAs. And you still see that even with this reduced load and such a small number of baseboard heaters, that the heat still ends up being a larger load. So we're going to select the larger, and we are going to select B. What is the total HVAC demand you would calculate for a dwelling unit with an AC compressor rated at 22 amps using a 2.2 blower amp motor and 5 baseboard heating units rated at 3,500 watts each on a 122/40 volt system using the optional method? So first we're going to calculate the AC. We're going to break that down just like we did in the previous examples, and we are going to calculate the heat. Now we take 5 and multiply that by 3,500, and that's going to give us 17,500. Now we're going to take that and we're going to apply the 40% demand factor. So we take the 17.5 multiplied by 0.40, and that's going to give us 7,000 VAs. Now we're going to select the larger, and we are going to select D. One thing I want to note to you very quickly, and it's kind of a weird catch when you do the 4 or more or the 4 or less, because if you noticed in the last example, we only had 3 baseboard heaters and the total VAs were 6,825. Well, we added 7,000 more watts by adding 2 more of those units, and it only brought, with the demand factor being allowed to be 40%, it only brought that total demand up 175 VAs. Now that's that little pocket right there in between 3 and 5 heaters where it doesn't change the demand much because they allow you to do such a larger demand factor. So remember, it was 3 heaters at 3,500 VAs, and it gave us a total of 6,825, and then 5 heaters at 3,500 VAs only gave us a total of 7,000. So that's pretty neat right there in that pocket right there. So let's get to it. Okay, so just to recap, remember you're going to select the larger of the 6 of the AC, 100% of the heat pump if there is no supplemental heat, 100% plus 65 if there is supplemental heat, 65 for 4 or less, 40% for 4 or more, 100% of thermal storage heating, and remember you can find all of this in 220.82C right there in the optional method breakdown. All right, now let's switch gears for probably 4 or 5 weeks, and we're going to get into motors. We're going to be dealing with conductors, overcurrent, short circuit, ground fault, overload, short-term duty, all of these fun things, but we're going to start off with sizing wires. So let's go ahead and jump into the next slide where we're going to be talking about just some of the things that we have to refresh on to make sure that we are ready to size wire for motors. Let's get to it. All right, so we're going to recap on some things to remember about sizing motor conductors. There's some rules that we have to abide by, and if you go back to week 8, part 1 of the original free 10-week series, it'll walk you through those steps again. Remember, everything that we're going to cover in this is just going to assume that you're already testing at the master level, you've already mastered all the basic principles, and you're going through and just practicing. So if you need to go back and watch starting in week 8, part 1, it's about midway through. I'll leave a link in the description below, and you guys can go back and start working on it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So some things that we have to remember is that when we're sizing motor conductors, we're actually going to use the motor FLC and not the FLA nameplate. Now, if they have the FLC printed on the nameplate, then you can use it. But if it's just some amperage stamped on the nameplate, or if it says FLA, then you're not going to be using it. You're actually going to be using the FLC. All right, so when we're dealing with FLC, we have to go to table 430.248 for single phase. This is assuming that you've already know how to do this. If not, I have tons of content teaching you how to use that table. And it's going to be table 430.250 for 3-phase. So just keep that in mind. Also, the other thing that we have to remember is that we're always going to multiply by 1.25, that FLC, when we're sizing motor conductors, unless there's a duty cycle listed. So if there's a duty cycle, it says intermittent use, or it's going to be used for 15 minutes, or it's going to be used for 3 minutes, or whatever it is, then we're going to abide by and play by some different rules, and we're going to dive farther into that next week. I'm very excited to get with you guys. I can't wait to get to it. We will see you next Saturday at 6 p.m. Let's get to it. Hey guys, that's it for this week. So join us next week where we dive farther deep into motors. This channel is designed to help you become everything that you can be in life and in the electrical industry. If you need anything, you can email me at electricalcodecoach@gmail.com. Let's get to it.